10 seconds to go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On June 16th, 2018, a show designed for you, the Daily Commuter, went live.
Well, folks, dreams do come true. This is Have Faith, Let It Begin, and this is our first episode.
A weekly show all about faith.
Every day, we're going to battle storms. We're going to face challenges. But we have to remember that we're not going to do it alone. We have to have faith.
A show with motivational topics.
As you go into work today, don't allow anyone to steal your joy. Lift your head up high and know that God is with you.
Inspirational stories and personal testimony set out to change the world.
My wife and I are expecting our first child. I'm going to be a father.
Welcome to Have Faith. Let it begin. Here's your host, Angel Santana.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Broadcasting live worldwide.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Have Faith, Let It Begin. Today is Wednesday, June 24th, 2020. This morning, we're going to be talking about an episode that was in the past. As we all know, this on Wednesdays, we're kind of taking a look back at former episodes, just in honor of our 2-year anniversary. And what we're doing is we're just taking the time to just, go back in time a little bit and reminisce on episodes that got us to where we are today, got us to the point where people have begun to listen to us and have given us great feedback and, more importantly, just come together as a family. So, folks, let's get started with another rendition of Have Faith, Let It Begin as we take it back to the days when we called this episode was actually in the first month of when we broadcasted live, and it was called The Call. Now, The Call originally was designed for me to just basically talk a little bit about my calling. And as I fix my headset, sorry about that. I had to make an unexpected. Let me just give you a little updated stuff before I start. Sorry about this. My car was giving me trouble this morning, so I had to kind of detour back to a local auto zone and pick up some power steering fluid. My steering wheel was getting locked up, and I did not want to jump on the highway. With the steering wheel getting tighter and tighter by the minute. And now I'm just getting myself buckled in. Okay, so here we go. Off to work we go. Sorry about that. I just wanted to be truthful so you know what was going on. So let's continue. So The Call was designed, the episode was called The Call, and it was designed for me to just talk about, my past and what I felt was my calling to action, to do what I can to help spread the word and do what I can to just be the focal point, to be a person that would go out and share some inspirational stories and, personal testimonies and motivational topics. Well, that episode took a different dynamic, so to speak. It took a different turn, a turn for the better, a turn for what I felt was God's way of saying, Angel, this is where you need to be. This is why I need you to continue to do what you do. This is why this journey is going to change your life. Now, mind you, this is before I knew that I was going to be a father. This is very early stages in this whole programming. So I did the episode, and I talked about how God is calling us, and we won't ever really know when He is calling, but when He does, you just eventually know that it's His influence. And don't be scared of it. Don't be afraid of the call. Don't be afraid of the knock, so to speak. And I gave examples, as I've done before, about caller ID and what would you do if God had called you and it was, if you looked down on the phone and it said Almighty God was calling you, would you answer the call? So, after I concluded that episode, one of the coolest things happened. Let me wave to I was waving to my daughter and my mom and dad because I had to buckle back for that power steering fluid, and they were outside on the porch. So I received a letter very next, actually not a letter, it was an email, about 24 to 48 hours after I had aired that episode. And it was from a young lady named Aubrey. She wrote to me, and she described how our show had played a huge influence in her life. How that she was going through some storms, going through some major life-changing decisions. And she felt that the show answered her call. She wanted to thank me, and she wanted to let me know that she would be listening to me. And the email came from Arizona. And I found that to be so uplifting. So fast forward 2 years later, here we are again, reminiscing about that episode called The Call. And I have had about 20 to 25 emails, letters from you, the listeners, describing how much this episodes and these shows and this journey has influenced your life and have made you a better person, have put you in a better position to have a better relationship with your family, your loved ones, and God. The hardest part about this job that I do, and I don't even call it a job, let me take that back, this joy that I have in putting on this show for each and every one of you, is not being able to have that interaction with you as I speak. I would love to have an open forum. I would love to, when this coronavirus is over, actually rent out a venue and do a show, a live show, with people just talking about anything that's on their minds. That's my goal. That's my new goal for 2021. And it's just getting us together. And even if we do it through Zoom or conference calls, it's just sharing with each other what this show has meant for all of us. But now, let's talk about the word and the phrase, the call. God is always calling on us. God calls on us when you least expect it. Sometimes we get in our vehicles and we listen to the radio nice and loud because we love the music. Hey, don't get me wrong, I love music too. But sometimes what people don't realize is we don't hear him calling. That doesn't necessarily mean that he makes direct phone calls only while you're in the car. There's a lot of distractions that have happened, that will continue to happen, that will try their very best to not allow God to call upon you. If you ever feel as if you are not alone, and you feel this beautiful sensation of love and compassion, and all of a sudden you feel like you can do a cartwheel, or maybe you get a nice breeze that makes you close your eyes and say, whoa, that was a great feeling. I believe that's God calling. Or maybe it's somebody that's calling you and saying to you, hey, the other day when I was having a bad day, you didn't know it, but when you said thank you, or when you said good job, or when you said, hey, I was thinking about you, or when you called me unexpectedly and said, hey, I'm praying for you, thank you. Sometimes that's God's way of saying, good job. That's sometimes God's way of saying, you have an influence on others. It's kind of hard to imagine, isn't it? That God can just reach out and touch somebody and call somebody without even knowing, right? You almost wish that, hey, you almost wish you get in the car or when you're praying to him and say, hey, God, just appear right now, and I'd love to see what you look like. I'd love to just talk with you for hours and hours at a time. Well, he hears you. Every time you speak to yourself, every time you speak, God knows, God hears. The call doesn't have to be a ringtone. The call doesn't have to be a love letter or a letter to you or to him. The call can be anything. It doesn't have to be a specific thing. It could be anything. Let me give you an example. When I went up for the first time to preach at my church, one of the ministers was going to be out. They asked me to step up, and I did. Before I said yes, they asked me to pray about it. And part of the distractions inside were, you don't belong on that pulpit. You don't belong up there. You're not going to do a good job. People are going to think you're dumb. People are thinking you're going to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. Do you know the Bible enough? Do you know all this negative stuff? And to this day, I continue to get those days. Even when I do this show, even when I'm about to preach, I still get those distractions. The only difference is I've answered God's call. And I've put away those distractions. So the day that I went up to my church and I preached for the very first time, when I was done with the sermon, my grandmother, who is no longer with us, appeared to me. I saw a vision. I saw her smiling and reaching out her thumb to me saying, "Good job." Sometimes when I preach, sometimes when I say good things or talk about the Word of God, I feel like I'm just as close to my grandmother's when I'm doing that. And as many of you know, this is a tough month for me. And emotionally as I get, as hard as the days get, I can't help but remember that God's will, God's call, has been answered by me. And no matter how many times He calls, I will always answer. No matter how many times He calls, I will never put Him on hold. I will always do His work. I will always do what He asks of me, because I believe in Him and I trust in Him. So I propose the question to you, just like I did 2 years ago. Are you ready for the call? Is today the call? Is today's episode and things that I'm talking something you've already been feeling? One can remember a friend of mine driving home on his motorcycle and having the sun appear in front of him and feeling nothing but joy. That's God's calling. That is God calling on you, my good friend. And you know who you are. I didn't get permission to share the story with his name, but you know who you are. Driving that motorcycle in the huge amount of rain and not even able to realize that there was a storm trying to derail you from getting to your destination, but yet the sun that was shining for you, allowing you the ability to look past the storm, was God's calling for you. For that individual out there that told me that she hated God, she hated life, she didn't realize that there was a loving God out there because of all the things that were happening to her, only to discover that after she gave herself to the Lord and proclaimed that He was somebody that she can rely on, her luck changed. Her life changed. That's God's calling upon you. For those of you right now that are struggling, for those of you that are into depression, for those of you that don't understand why things continue to happen, that's not God punishing you. But pray to Him. Tell Him you need help. Tell Him that you believe in Him. He'll answer that call. He answers prayers. Prayers may not be answered right away, but they get answered one way or another. Trust and believe that God answers all prayers. God also makes many phone calls, and God is calling on you. You know, I used to say on this show, it's time to rise. I said it for so very short period of time, and then all of a sudden I stopped saying it. But it is time to rise. It is time to have hope. It is time to believe and trust in Him. Because I guarantee you, putting your faith and trust in Him will change your way of life. For the better, for the good, for the foreseeable future. And it will make you happier than you've ever been. Believe that today. And that's the message for today. We'll talk to you again tomorrow as we slow things down a little bit, get a little fun, and we continue on with our crazy date sagas. May God bless you. May He shine His light upon you and grant each and every one of you peace. And never forget, have faith. Let it begin.
Don't you see that your faith is coming alive? Don't you see that it's tested every time? He's the one that makes your life divine. He's the one that makes you feel fine. Your faith's being tested.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Have Faith, Let It Begin. You're going to hear episodes, me recording live as my daughter in the background, Ariel, will probably cry. You'll hear background noises like phone calls. And right on the cue, she's starting to cry. Don't worry, everybody. We're going to continue on like never before. And with Ariel in the background, knowing that in the future you're going to hear yourself crying like this, Mama, yeah, say hi to everybody out there. We just want to encourage each and every one of you to join us every single weekday, Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Join me, Ariel, my family, and everyone as we continue our journey. For Have Faith, Let It Begin, my name is Angel. Say goodbye, Ariel. Say bye. Bye.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.